Good morning. This is Margaret from the University of Sewing at the Tailored Fit, and I want to welcome you to our shop. Foremost, we are a Bernina dealer in Bloomington, Indiana, and I want to tell you today on Facebook Live that we have been seeing something, and I wanted you to see it. I got my technician to leave this machine open for me, and then we've had this one on display at the shop for a long time. So let me tell you what's going on here. This is the interior guts of a Bernina 330. It's the same thing you will see on a Bernina 215, a 330, a 335, a 325. This is what they look like inside. What's really interesting though is also when you get into the upper models, they also look like this. And what you're seeing here is a cast aluminum frame. This is not light. It is pretty heavy. We're looking at about 14 pounds for just this part of it. And so it's pretty heavy. And it is cast in two pieces. The bottom part's a piece and this top part's a piece. And all the components of the machine are screwed to this. And then when you're sewing, the idea here is that when you're sewing, if you look at a sewing machine, I don't care what machine it is, you will see some vibration because that needle's going up and down, and this motor right here is turning, and the hand wheel, this belt is turning. So there's a lot of vibration going on. And a typical sewing machine is going to sew at least probably in the neighborhood minimum of 60 stitches per inch. And Berninas can go as much as 120 stitches per minute. So in that time frame, you're getting a lot of vibration. Well, let's look at this one. This is a machine that one of our customers brought to us. They bought it in a big box store. They probably spent anywhere from, let's say, $100 to $300 for something very similar. There is no frame to this machine. All of the components are actually screwed, some of them to a piece of metal and then to the plastic cover, but there is no base frame to this machine. It's all just screwed basically to plastic. Well, this is very lightweight. I mean, I can lift this up with 3 fingers, okay? Whoops. Let's see, try not to knock it over in the process of telling you about this. But it's really lightweight. I'm going to have to push this one over. This one will just fall over. Think about this for a minute. When you go to sew on something like this, how is it possible that the stitches could look nice? How is it possible that all the parts and components are going to stay where they're supposed to be? It's not possible. What happens with these kind of machines very frequently, and it's happened multiple times this past year, where somebody's bought this and within a year, especially if they use it a bunch, it's just going to stop working on them. And then they bring it to us and the needle's not going down where it's supposed to, and the feed dogs aren't feeding properly, and the tension's not correct. And then they're like, well, but I just got this a year ago. Well, their warranty's done. The place that they bought it may have been online, so they can't even go back to them. And guess what? That money they just spent is pretty much down the drain. These machines, on the other hand, you get a warranty 5 years on the electrical components. And you know what, I'm saying that, and I'm going to go back and double check myself, and I might probably have to correct that. But I know that the mechanical parts are warranted for 20 years, and I believe the computer parts are for 2, and then the electrical is 5. And I'm going to double check that, and I'll make sure I put it in the notes about this and make sure I get that correct. But the point is you get a warranty, and you have us. So if you're having problems with your Bernina and you bought it from us, you can come back to us and we will take care of it and we'll make it right. No matter what that takes, we'll make it right. And when you go and buy it from that place, you know, that has 50 million stores all over and they have a lot more money and a lot more resources than I do. Most of the time, if you're lucky, they might exchange it. Maybe. And most of the time, they don't even do that. They tell you, well, I'm sorry, that machine's no longer under warranty and you can't do anything about it. Well, don't throw your money away. Purchase something that is going to last you a while. All of these machines that are right here, we have Bernettes also, which are a little bit less expensive than the Berninas, and those at least also are warranted. They don't go and put all their things on plastic. They have a frame to them. It's not as good as the Bernina's frame, but it's a nice frame. And this is ridiculous. When a person comes in and they've spent their hard-earned money and then they have something and they have to replace it. We had a customer come in last Christmas and he was buying his wife this machine. It was at the time, it was a 335. He had saved up for it to buy her one of these because in 10 years they had gone through 5 of these machines. She loved to sew. And they were buying these and throwing them away like they were, you know, what? You're not supposed to buy a sewing machine and throw it away in a year or two. That's crazy. Come here and we'll take care of you and we'll make sure you get a good sewing machine for what you do, and we'll make sure if you need to, we can do a layaway. If you need to, we have a credit card. Bernina has a great credit card, 0% interest for up to 4 years. Don't put your hard-earned money into something you're going to throw away in a year. That's crazy. So we have a lot more to talk about today. And what I want to tell you about today is that finish up with the Berninas. There's a lot on sale still right now. We have sale going on until February the 9th. If you go to the universityofsewing.com and go to our sales page, you'll see all the machines that are on sale, including a lot of Bernettes. So if you're not in the price range where you can afford a Bernina, let's get you into a Bernette and get you a decent machine. So I'm going to take you over this way, and Denise is going to join us. Hey, Denise.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday.
So, what are we doing today, Denise?
I'm so excited about this. So, nobody's traveling anywhere, which is really a bummer because it is so much fun to do international travel. We brought our little beautiful globe in to kind of inspire us. I've even got my passport. It does have a couple stamps in it. But since we can't actually go anywhere, Margaret thought it might be fun to talk about some of our international fabrics. And we have a ton of international fabrics, guys. Probably the best that you've ever seen in one spot. Certainly the best that I've ever seen in one spot.
And Denise, I don't know if you know it or not, but we just got in a bunch of fabrics from a gentleman who has been coming to us every once in a while. His daughter goes to school at IU, and he's originally from Mali, Africa. And so he gets fabrics from there and then sells them to us. And we have these really cool fabrics.
And you will not find these anywhere else.
You're not going to find them anywhere else. So come on, let us show you what we've got. It's really fun. And we're going to start off with a really cool piece. These pieces are not finished on the bottom and the top, so you can put some sort of finish to hang it on your wall if you want to, or if you want to back it, or however you want to treat it, you can do that. But these pieces are made up of 5-inch strips that are hand woven. They've zigzagged them together and then they print them. And this is all done by hand. And it is just amazing to look at the colors and the really drama that is on these pieces. And so what we're going to do is I've got, I think, 6 pieces to look at. These two, this first one we've got is obviously in browns and golds and some, what they left the natural color right there. So let's go ahead. We're going to take this one.
Earthy, deep, rich
colors.
Yes,
it's so rich and so dramatic and so beautiful. So we're going to take and clean that one up. And then what we're going to do is bring out this wonderful indigo.
Oh, goodness,
and this one's so cool because it is, we're going to go this way. Yeah, let's go do that. This one's big enough to be a bedspread.
Oh my goodness.
It is 83 inches by 59 inches.
Wow.
And look at that. How gorgeous is that? and what they did with this one, this is shibori dye. So they took and used some sort of clamps or clips or tied it, and that's where the white comes from, and the rest of this was dyed in indigo. And it is super gorgeous and such an amazing piece.
I love the variations in the sizes of the pattern and the depthness of color. It's just, it really shows that it was hand done and not processed, you know, a million yards of the same thing.
Nothing hand processed, nothing machine processed about this. It is really unusual. I love the indigo color. It's hard to do this really dark blue, but they've done, this must have been in the indigo vat for a long time to get this really gorgeous color.
It is amazing.
So that one's a really big one. And all of these that we are showing you today are on our website. So we're going to go ahead, and this is another one.
This one's a little smaller.
It is. It's that 60 by 40 size.
And the weight is a little different on this one.
This is actually really lightweight. It is very beautiful, and it's so different and interesting, but it's lightweight enough. If you wanted to actually put it into a garment, you could probably do that. It is just so interesting. Wouldn't it make gorgeous pillows?
Oh my goodness.
And
Margaret, the fibers, I'm guessing they're natural, but do we know what they are?
This and the last two that we looked at are 100% cotton. We actually burned it to make sure that we were right, but they're 100% cotton.
It's so soft and almost silky feeling.
Well, it is. We've actually taken these two home and washed them.
Wow.
So that they were really crocking the indigo, and I wanted to make sure it didn't get on anything.
Sure.
So we've given it their first
sweet.
laundering. So they are
So
very,
sweet.
very beautiful. So there's some really wonderful things you could do with that. Okay, we have another one.
Oh goodness.
Here, this is again 60 by 40. This is heavier than the last one we just looked at. The yarns are heavier and coarser. And this is a piece that, I mean, again, wall hanging. If you wanted to do something like if you were able to do a really cool statement jacket out of it, this could be really interesting in that regard. It is soft enough that I think you could pull off, but it would have to be really structured shape to it, you know.
It really is soft. I mean, it's kind of a thick fabric, but it's got some movement to it.
Exactly. It's really, really interesting. And again,
it's amazing.
If you wanted to put a hanging piece behind it, or you wanted to take and do something, the whole piece, have it backed,
I love
and
that
then
idea.
go ahead and put a rod through it, wouldn't this be, I mean, like, you would have everybody asking you, where did you get this?
The ultimate conversation piece.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Okay, let's go ahead. We've got several more here, and I want to be able to go through them today. So we're going to be covering these different African pieces today. I'm so thrilled with what he brought us.
Wow.
His name is Suleiman. He is so cool. He's a very friendly man, and he's been, you know, here we have this wonderful stuff that we can carry. And he just called us out of the blue one day and said, my daughter's going to school at IU. Can I show you what we've got?
I love that.
Isn't that wonderful? So very entrepreneurial. I like that a bunch.
And I love that you support him and in turn are supporting our shop. And
well, I mean, how could I turn this stuff down? It's too amazing
really
and beautiful. And you know, I love the fact that if you look here, you know, it's just, there's all kinds of, nothing is quote perfect.
no.
And that's kind of like, I get that because I'm not always perfect in what I do on my sewing. So this is kind of fun to see someone who's, you know, wonderful artwork, and it doesn't have to be quote perfect.
There's a human factor to it that makes it so appealing.
Yes.
Makes it so special.
So then this next one is really unusual. I've never seen one quite like this next one. And I've seen ones like the last two we've had, but I've never seen this particular version. So we've got this one.
Oh my goodness.
I think this is really special. very interesting. Look at the way that they did these dye splatters.
That must have been so much fun.
It must have been fun. I think so too. And I love this. Now, I have no idea what this means. And I'm really hopeful it's okay. So maybe if somebody's out there watching this, they can tell us what this is. I don't know. But I really do love it. I think it's really gorgeous. So
it is so cool.
And again, all of these 40 by 60 pieces we're showing you, they don't have the edges finished. Now that big indigo piece that we had, the edges were finished on that. They had folded those up and hemmed them. I think it was intended for a bedspread.
Okay.
So there's that. So, but these, I think they meant, if this is one is pretty soft too, and you could definitely put it into an item of clothing.
I can see this hanging in like an artist studio.
Oh.
Somebody who paints that would appreciate
Yes.
all the splashes.
Yes, this is really beautiful. And then these next two pieces are kind of what I'd almost call weird. I don't know what to say. Weird in an awesome way, of course. Weird in an awesome way, but what's really interesting about these two, by the way, these are finished on the ends, and we have to turn this back over here this way. So these are finished, but these are hand woven.
Wow.
And there's carries on the front. I mean, this is amazing. There's little thread. The threads have been actually purposely woven to come in and out of those little circles. And I mean, and the weaving on this one is actually much more fine than the other ones we've done.
Yeah.
It's much more fine. And it is cotton again. It's very interesting. It is finished on the two ends. This is 70 inches by 60 inches. And I think you could turn this into a curtain.
I was thinking exactly the same thing with the light.
Yes.
The holes in it, the light
Or
coming through.
If you were worried about it in some way being damaged by light, you could totally take these holes and put different colors behind it.
Oh my goodness, I love that.
I mean, you could do something really amazing with this. It's very, very beautiful. And again, it's natural fibers.
You could even weave some ribbons or something through there to add.
Well, I
some
hadn't
color.
even thought about that. That is interesting. But yes, so we've got this one too. This one's a little bigger than the ones we've seen. But see, again, it's these strips that have been sewn together. Now, this wasn't sewn together with a zigzag. This time they sewed it together with a straight stitch. So, you know, even though the carrier's on one side, if you didn't like that side and you like this side better, you could always use that. So it's really, really interesting.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like that.
No, I have never seen anything quite like that. And I did some weaving on my own. When I was in school, I learned to weave. And that was very interesting to have that kind of a weaving structure, since I've never seen one quite like that. Now this one is also pretty big, and this one feels completely different than any of the other ones we've had.
It really does.
I think this was done by someone who was a much better weaver than any of the other pieces. It's a much better quality weaving job. And it's also really soft and really drapeable.
It is.
We tested a little piece of this, and we're pretty certain it is probably rayon.
I was going to guess if there was some rayon in it.
But this is hand printed. Each one of these is hand printed block prints. And I have a feeling the way that these patterns are going, I think that it was that these things might have been together.
Gotcha.
On the same block.
Sure, that makes
But
sense.
very interesting. And it is finished on the ends. Wow. It could make a really cool jacket. It could make something of, you know, and a little, if you had a smaller bed, like a twin, this would be beautiful on it. So there's a lot to be seen with this.
Oh my goodness.
It is really gorgeous. And see, the back of it is really interesting, because it's like the dye took different, because this was dyed on but it took very oddly to the way that this was done.
It is funny. Huh?
I don't know. I would have to have somebody, maybe Jean Haley, our friend Jean Haley. I don't know if she's watching this or not. But Jean, maybe you could tell us more about these sometime. She does a lot of natural dyeing.
It feels so nice.
It does. It feels wonderful. It's really soft. It's got a really interesting hand to it, and it's very drapeable in comparison to anything else. I mean, any of the other pieces wouldn't do that.
Oh no, not at all.
So that's really interesting. Okay,
So cool.
so now we've taken our one trip to Africa.
And an amazing trip.
An amazing trip. Let's take a look at the jacket we made up. This jacket was made up using our Amy Brackman. She does the crossroads patterns, and this is called an Indigo Junction kimono pattern. And see what we did out of this, and that's that tie-dye denim.
It is so cool.
And on the ends, we used some Japanese fabric.
An international jacket.
There you go. Of course it's international. We love that. Anybody who knows me knows I've been collecting fabric from all over the world since I got into quilting. I've been collecting fabric from all over the world.
Wow. My collection is not quite that international. I need to step it up a little bit.
Okay, so this piece right here is a piece and these are 3-yard pieces, and some of them have some marks on them. Remember, these have traveled probably in container ships from Africa, and so there was a couple little marks on one end of this, but this was done with tie-dyeing and some shibori folding. And so this is really pretty spectacular. There's a lot here that could be used to make a garment. And I think it is really, really interesting.
And even as a denim, Margaret, it's very pliable.
Yeah, it's not a stiff denim.
No.
It's a lightweight denim. So it's really beautiful.
Love it.
And that is one of 3 of these that we have. So these I'm going to have to tell you, I haven't got these on the website yet. So if you like them, message me and I'll get you pricing information. I'll get you a picture. These are about 3 yards each. Oh, wow, look at this one.
I didn't realize the print on this one.
This one's really interesting.
Margaret, I'm thinking these would make great table covers just as is.
Yeah. They are. Yep, I think we've got to switch around here.
Oh my goodness.
Look at this one. Look how interesting this is. This is so fascinating
I
what they
love
did with this. Yeah, this is really fascinating. Now remember, these are all hand done pieces, so they are not going to be necessarily, even in coloring, even in the designs. They're done by, when you do
real people?
real people, and they're using pretty primitive kind of printing methods and stuff. When it comes to doing tie-dye, if anybody's ever done that, what they've done is they've put some kind of piece on here and here to keep the dyes from going through, maybe tape or something.
Sure.
So it's very interesting how you get there. And this is the last one we've got. But the really wonderful thing about doing these pieces, in my estimation, is you really can get some clothes out of them if you want to.
Oh my goodness.
So, there we go again.
Here we go.
This one is pretty spectacular.
I love it. I love the diagonal.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, if any of you ever get a chance to do some dyeing, boy, it is fascinating. So this was done they folded this up and probably clipped it and tied it so that they could get these designs on it.
See, the quilter in me, Margaret, looks at this stripe and says, ooh, I could cut this up.
Sure.
Which would be a horrible thing to do to this piece of fabric, but
Oh,
it
no,
would be beautiful.
It wouldn't. No, you know what? I think that that's wrong. I think that what you want to do with something like this is use it.
There's so many things
There's
you
so
could do
many
with it.
things you could do with it. You could do a quilt on one side and have this as your back.
I love that.
So
That's a great
no,
idea.
these should be used. These should be made into things, and it should be done. So we're going to now I promise we're really going to finish up with Africa right now. And the next place we're going to go, which is kind of not really even close, is Japan.
Not close.
So we're going to go to Japan. And I was fortunate enough to have a sister who actually made it to Japan. My mother always wanted to go to Japan. And you were recently at my house and you saw I have this gorgeous Japanese doll with her kimono on. And we really, I mean, I've wanted to go to Japan all my life. Now I haven't made it there. I'm hoping after we get through this next year, I can get back to doing some traveling. And Japan's on the list.
Dust your passport off.
Yep, I definitely have to do that. So, since I can't go there right now, I have this kind of thing. I like my Japanese fabric. So,
just a little bit, right, Margaret?
Just a little bit. Now, we were just looking at that wonderful indigo. And guess where I came from in starting my love of indigo?
I have no idea.
It was Japan.
Oh.
Back in the 80s when I started quilting, there was a wonderful place, Kasuri Dye Works, and they used to go to the quilt shows. And that was where I was first introduced to Japanese fabrics.
Wow.
And so I used to see them at the Paducah Quilt Show. Mm-hmm. And so I first saw things like, now this happens to be a canvas.
I love the print on
this print is so pretty. And this is from Japan. This is a very classic flower print from Japan. And these beautiful indigo fabrics, I mean, they're just really lovely. So we're going to just pull out some of the ones we have. We actually have a fairly nice selection of them.
And they are all online.
Right? And they're all online. They're all here. So this is a double gauze. And this is, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but there's these little dots here. And that's kind of the connection of the double layers of gauze.
Oh.
And it's not a terribly transparent fabric, but it's very cool. So this could turn into a gorgeous top. You know, there's so many things you could do with this. Think of like a button-up that you could wear over a tank.
Yes.
It would be beautiful. We have a caftan shirt. It's from Shearwater that this would make up really cute.
It really would. Actually, since it's handy.
There you go.
Here's the pattern. That would be adorable in that one.
Yeah, it would be very cute, very lightweight, perfect over your shorts in the summertime, over your suit, any of those kind of things. I mean, you know, that's really, really beautiful. So then we've got this particular fabric for those of us who love our blacks and love there's some wonderful silver in here. This is really gorgeous. But what I'm going to show you about this fabric that's amazing is the hand paintedness of this fabric.
Oh my goodness.
This is really unusual. It is done by Nani Iro. I believe that's the correct way to pronounce her name. She's a Japanese artist. If you look in the silver part, there's these lovely little flowers. There's also, you know, just kind of like little flower buds, it looks like. And then it looks like she took and decided to hand paint the rest of the fabric.
Wow.
It's got a really interesting texture. It's very soft and drapey. It's very beautiful. I mean, honestly, this is just a wonderful, wonderful fabric. And you know what? I had the name wrong. It's Naomi Ito.
Oh.
Naomi Ito.
Margaret, this is a good example of why I would not make an awesome fabric designer, because I would have made this whole thing one solid color.
I think most of us think that, and then she did all these variations, and how much more interesting now.
Yes.
Could you see a beautiful wrap skirt out of this? You could take and, you know, this right up to here, or even maybe here, look at it as a dress.
I love it. So,
I mean, wouldn't that be so elegant and
yep.
beautiful? I mean, there is just no two ways about it. She designs some incredible fabrics. So what we've got is this one for people maybe in that cool color palette. It looks better on them. And now I'm going to show you something very similar, but very different. And by the way, we will send you samples. If you're not feeling comfortable coming into the shop right now, or maybe you're too far away. If you're too far away and you want to see some samples, go on our website, figure out which fabrics you like. And once you figure out the fabrics that you like, go ahead and write down there's a SKU number that is attached with each fabric. And as you look at those fabrics, you can write that SKU number down for me, and I will cut you a sample. And we can put that in an envelope and send it to you in the mail. Or if you are local and you want to come by and we'll drop it. I had a gal who's looking at some of our fabrics right now. I dropped it off in her trunk and she gets to take them home and take a look at them.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so Naomi Ito, again.
Wow.
Is she not got an eye?
Wow.
And this fabric, you could just frame it.
You absolutely could.
You could just frame it.
Absolutely.
But you know what I'm going to do with a piece of this, I think?
What are you doing?
You know, that long vest I wore the other day, the crisscross vest I had on.
Yes.
And that's an old pattern from back in my quilting days. I got that pattern.
Wow.
But I know that one of the big four patterns, the big pattern companies, one of those is going to have something like that.
Sure.
And so this could totally be turned into an amazing vest. Although that Frankie shirt that we have, and I think that's over in our other thing. The Frankie shirt is made in such a way that I think, you know, that could totally be something that would work in this. Now, there's a couple more of our Japanese fabrics. Like I said, we could be here all day long, and that's probably, you know, we'd have fun with it. I'm not sure you'd enjoy it. But what I was thinking is we'd show you just a couple more of the kinds of fabrics we have. One of them is a double-sided brocade.
This one's one of your favorites.
It is one of my favorites, and I love the double-sided brocades because you can make something reversible
It is
out
so
of
cool.
them. I mean, look at how beautiful that is. Front and back are totally usable. It's amazing and gorgeous. Now, this is 100% cotton, believe it or not, and that 100% cotton will shrink. So if you're going to purchase this, my recommendation would be that you wash it in cold and air dry it.
That's good to know.
So I think that's really important, and maybe one of those things that you really should pay attention to.
It feels so soft.
It's 45 inches wide. It's not like a super narrow fabric. It used to be that a lot of fabrics that you would get from Asia would be different widths, and you still can find some of those, but this is actually made kind of like how we expect it now.
Interesting.
So 45-inch wide also. Now this fabric, the colors in this are so saturated and so gorgeous, and they are so spectacular. This is a crepe. It is actually a polyester crepe, but if you want to know who does polyester perfectly, the Japanese have got it down. It's amazing. So this fabric, watch what I can do. I'm going to scrunch it really hard.
Wow.
Not a single wrinkle in sight.
Wow, that's great traveling clothes.
Perfect for traveling, you guys. Perfect for traveling.
Probably doesn't get the bad rap that it used to.
Polyester has really made a huge change.
That's fantastic.
Most people do not realize that. Now, there's still a lot of awful polyester out there, don't get me wrong. But they're in the better places to purchase polyester. It's actually a really fabulous fiber.
Wow.
Like this, if you get it in a crepe, it doesn't wrinkle.
That's amazing.
It travels amazingly. And my God, what a beautiful garment you could make from this. A dress, a top, a pair of flowy pants.
Oh,
would that be fun?
Yes.
It would just be totally fun. So, we have a really gorgeous variety of different Japanese fabrics. We have some that are canvases, some that are gauzes. Most of them are actually clothing weight. This one they call a corduroy. This cracks me up.
Oh.
Did you know they call
I
this?
did not know
Yes,
that.
they call this a corduroy. And I wouldn't call this corduroy, but it's super cool. It is a brushed fabric, and they have this amazing design in it.
I love the brushed part.
It
you wanna pet
is. Yes, you do want to pet it. It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. So we have a variety of these different fabrics. The only thing that I can tell you is go online and go through them and see what is your project, what are you doing. If you're not sure, if you've fallen in love with something and you're not sure what to do with it and you want to ask us questions, they can ask us questions, can't they?
Yes, please. We love questions. We love questions to Facebook, to our YouTube channel. We love questions on our email.
Email is info@universityofsewing.com. And guess what you gals can do? You can just call us on the phone.
That's easy.
Sometimes it's easier because you have a variety of questions to ask. So if you have a variety of them and you're just wanting to talk about what you just saw, what you can do is you can go ahead and just call us. 812-323-2665. Most of us these days, we have a cell phone, so it doesn't actually cost us extra money to make that phone call. And we'd be happy to talk to you. But of course, if for some reason you feel more comfortable with email, tell us which fabrics you're looking at, the questions you've got. We can certainly answer those. And like I said, now I know it's not there, obviously. I haven't figured out a way to do it yet, but we're going to be adding the service where we can add swatches. It's just there's some technical difficulties with the website that we have to set up.
Some tweaking to do.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, and we're going to get it figured out. And when I do, I'll let you know. But in the meantime, don't let that stop you from asking, because, I mean, how are you going to, you got to come, if you can't come in, you got to see these fabrics.
And the website, just as a reminder, universityofsewing.com, and of course it's up 24 hours a day.
And we put these Facebook videos, if you're having problems finding them, which you probably can find them in the videos on our Facebook page. But a lot of people don't use Facebook, and we always take and put these on our YouTube channel too. So if there's something, that you've seen and you're seeing it on YouTube, don't worry. I mean, we still answer your questions. We're still going to take good care of you. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done that. I'm going to actually probably cut out of this video. I'm going to probably make a separate video just on the sewing machines and showing you the plastic one versus the Bernina one, just so that you can see that in and of itself. And then this one will be probably a separate one too. So that way you can look at fabrics if you want to,
That's right.
or you can look at machines if you want to. But we have a lot more fabric here that I didn't get to, did I?
No, there was so much.
We just got in from one of our New York sources. They deal with fabrics from Italy.
And they're beautiful.
And I wanted to have time to get to that, but I just don't think we're going to do it today. So, what do you
We have to take
think?
another trip.
We're going to make another trip. We're going to take another trip. We have fabrics here from India. We have fabrics here from Italy. We have fabrics from Australia.
And we're getting more.
And we're getting more. I mean, what is it you're looking for? Are you having a special thing that you want to do? I mean, we aren't carrying, quote, formal fabric, really.
True.
But what we are carrying is the perfect stuff to go and wear to resorts.
The special fabric.
And the perfect thing for your everyday kind of use. Or maybe even, we haven't talked about the wools.
Oh my goodness, the wools.
The wools are amazing. So if you like to make things that are made out of wool, we've got an amazing selection of wools, and they're very reasonably priced. So we're going to close off for today. I wanted you guys to see some of these wonderful things. And next time we will do what? I don't know. We're going to have to talk about that. We never know until the day before.
It'll be a surprise.
But
for
if
all
you
of
have
us,
a
but it'll be
suggestion, you want us to show you something in particular, let us know. Thanks a bunch, everybody. Have a wonderful day.